I've got, you can release your video order here.
Yes, I've got that. I've not seen that before. That's something new.
They're going to charge us for the video. We've got to make money somehow.
This is true. Evening, Jenny.
Good evening, Jenny. Evening, everyone.
Hi, Jenny.
Evening.
Happy
Hi,
New Year to you.
And Happy New Year to all of you. There, that's better.
Jenny, didn't see you sneaking.
Only just.
Just to let you know, Linda, we've got Mr. and Mrs. Horn.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah, thank you.
So that's the 16 Uppingham Drive job, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
Which I've listed.
Yeah. No, I noticed that, yes, on the spreadsheet. Yeah. Nearly time to rock and roll, isn't it?
That's better.
Janet's got her hand up.
1 minute to go.
You okay, Janet, or?
It doesn't seem to be hearing us.
Can you hear me, Janet?
Hello.
Hello,
Good
Carol.
evening, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Carol.
To everybody.
No.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
Carol, can you hear? Not Carol, I'm sorry. Janet, can you hear now?
Doesn't seem like it.
He's not down as muted, though.
No.
No.
Fix that.
Can we send her a message?
Oh.
Has someone sent her a message? Or
Oh, no, she's just connecting to audio again. She's got a second.
Right, I'm here now.
Oh,
Hello, Janet.
Hello, Janet.
I don't know why, I'm sorry about that. It wouldn't.
Oh, she's got two.
Oh, you're on twice.
I know, I'm going to turn the other one off now because. Okay. Sorry about that, Janet.
Okay, no problem. Right.
You've also got your hand up, Janet.
Oh, that was to try and get your attention to tell you that I couldn't.
So can you take it down?
Yeah, it's coming up now. Hang on. Oh, I'm on a whole different.
I can lower that if you want me to lower it.
No, I'm all right.
There we are.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's gone up on your phone now.
I can lower that. It's gone.
There we are.
Right, I've lowered it.
Thank you, Linda.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Good start, isn't it? Sorry.
Right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Philip Wicks, and I'm chair for this meeting. So first of all, can I say a very happy and prosperous new year to everybody for 2021, although maybe it hasn't started off quite as well as we would have liked. So I'd welcome you to the first 2021 meeting of the Planning and Community Committee of Woodley Town Council. The Town Council is consulted by Wokingham Borough Council on planning applications within Woodley, but the final decision of approved or refused is taken by Wokingham Borough Council. We will notify Wokingham Borough Council excuse me, of the committee's views, which may include any comments and concerns expressed by members of the community affected by the application. So if anyone has any comments to make on any of the planning applications, then you need to formally write or send an email to the Wokingham Borough Council Planning Department, as they will take the final decision on the application. This meeting of the committee is taking place under the video conferencing platform, Zoom. The meetings will be held in accordance with the Woodley Town Council virtual meetings protocol. For members of the public attending and wishing to comment, your microphones will be off and will be controlled by the chair. If you wish to discuss a particular planning application or any other matter, can you please raise your electronic hand to ensure you can be seen, and the chair will in turn turn on your microphone and enable you to speak at a suitable time. This is to prevent too many attendees talking at once and to allow us to manage the meeting more effectively. Thank you very much for your cooperation. So first of all, may we turn to the agenda. Do we have any apologies, Linda?
Yes, we have apologies from councillors Gilder, Nagra and Ramuni.
Right, thank you. And have we any declarations of interest?
Yes, Philip. Item 10 on the agenda, we're going to consider the annual grant applications. And as a trustee for Citizens Advice Bureau, I don't think I should really take part in that.
Okay, David, I can understand that. Any others? I'm quite close to application 203305, which is 35 Willowside, but I do not know the occupants, and it is probably 100 yards down the road. So if you consider that is of interest to me, then can you please make a note? But I don't think it is.
I don't think you need to declare that bit.
Okay.
No.
It's far enough away.
Okay. Any others? No? Okay. So let's move on with that. So item 3 then is the minutes of the Planning and Community Committee meeting held on the 1st of December. Those minutes were provided at the full council agenda on the 8th of December, and I believe there were no concerns and comments. Am I right in saying that? Yes, we're happy with that. So can we take those as being accepted?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you. I will sign them off at some stage in 2021, 2022, when I can get to the council offices and find that the front door is open. Okay, item 4 then is current planning applications. I don't know if you've got your spreadsheet. I would like to start with application 203100, which I think is item 4 on your spreadsheet. And this is 16 Uppingham Drive. I don't know whether you've all had a chance to look at this. Whether you want me to share the screen.
could you share the screen, please?
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, that one.
So
Right.
this is 16 Uppingham Drive. Control. I'll make that a bit bigger for you. Is that okay for everybody?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So this is the before. As you can see, the building footprint is relatively small with a detached garage. And this is the after. If I can try and make that a bit smaller. Can you see them both on one screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the before and after. And as you can see, the footprint of the building has increased considerably, probably 100%.
Yeah. Nearly double.
So the ground floor is moved out from the original line to this. There's an extension here on the side, which is a single story extension, but there's a 2-story extension on the back here, which has got 2 rooms underneath and a master bedroom. I think it's a bathroom and is it a dress room at the top from what I can vaguely remember?
I remember.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is the existing floor plan. Relatively small, as you can see. Existing elevations. And this is the new floor plan. This is the ground floor. So the existing floor covers this area where my cursor is going. I hope you can see the cursor.
Yep.
Yep.
So this all the way up to here and all of this on the ground floor is new.
Yeah.
And on the first floor, all of this is new. And there is an image of what the building will look like. So comments, please.
the design seems to me to be a very good use of space. But whether we agree that it's not too big or too much, but architecturally, I think it's quite nice.
Right,
Philip?
architecturally, yes, sorry, go on.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can I say the resident who has the property at the bottom of the garden is actually present. I don't know if they want to speak to the committee on the application, or I do have the comments that they have sent in. I can't see whether they want to speak while you're sharing the screen, unfortunately.
Ah, do you want me to stop the share? If
Oh, I
I
could see
stop
whether-
the share,
Nice, isn't it?
Okay. So I don't know if they can raise a hand if they wish to speak. Or I can allow to talk.
I can help, Chairman, since I've listed this application on the basis of a couple of conversations I've had with Mr. and Mrs. Horn. So I
Okay.
can give you the reasons for listing, if that then forms the basis of any further discussion, if you want me to do that.
yes,
Yeah.
please.
Can you hear?
Ah.
Can you hear us now?
Yes,
We can,
Oh,
Mrs. Horn.
we had to find the right button. We're not. Well, we feel it's much too big. It's encroaching right back into their garden, almost onto our boundary wall. So when we look out of the window, we're going to see this huge 14-foot sideways and double-story extension. Plus, they've put all the windows in the back so they look right over. They can see into every room in our property, our garden. They could move the new window and the new extension onto the side, so we only have two smaller windows overlooking us, because they've got this on the side where the dressing room is. They've got the window on the side of the extension, so they could put the bedroom window there as well, instead of having it looking straight into our property.
they could actually transfer the bedroom window to the dressing room as well, couldn't they? Because when I looked at the plans, they could reverse that, and then the bedroom would be looking at the front and not at the back.
Right.
Mm. It's just that we've only got one window overlooking us at the moment, and they normally keep the curtains closed. But if we've got three, and it's that close, we'll be able to shake hands with them virtually, and it's not going to be a very good outlook for us. Plus,
Right.
it's going to be out of context to the rest of the buildings in the area.
Yes, I can see that. Okay. Does
I
anybody have
think
anything? Sorry, go on.
I think they could move the extension forward a bit. I know there's a building line where you can't go right up to the original front of the house, but they've left a big space in the front and brought it right back. So why can't it be moved forward more?
Okay. Because it's side on to the footpath, isn't it? From what I can recall.
Yes,
It is. Yes.
which doesn't really overlook anything.
No. No. Okay.
That those neighbours haven't been consulted. They had no notification that this extension was going to be put up. It was only us, our next door neighbour, and their next door neighbour. Our
Okay.
next door neighbour has put in an objection as well.
All right. I don't think I've seen that.
I
Have
know-
you seen any more objections, Keith?
No, but I can when you wish.
Okay.
Uh,
I think there is another one on the
Yeah,
website. On the
there
website.
is another one
Oh, is there?
from
Okay.
number 3, Colby Close.
Right.
if you wish, I can give you my 5 points that I've used on the listing.
Okay, Keith, and I'll come on to Carol afterwards. Yes.
Okay, number 1 is the increase in the property which will occur if this is approved is massive, almost doubling the size of the property, something that you picked up, Philip.
Yep.
It will create a massing effect, especially to the neighbour to the rear, 2 Corby Close, which is a bungalow. It is contrary to the current street scene by being totally out of character. The two buildings to the, if you're facing it, to the left are actually bungalows, so they're quite small. The sheer size of the extension at the back with bedroom windows will mean significant overlooking, especially into the lounge, kitchen and conservatory of Mr. and Mrs. Horn's property. And I haven't checked this, but I believe it may break the minimum distance between the back wall of the new extension and the wall of the neighbours.
Linda's busy writing. Have you got that written down, Linda?
I can
Yeah.
send it to you by email if you want, Linda.
Okay.
Okay, that would help. But yeah, I've got the main points, I think, but that would be helpful.
Carol,
I'll send you the full email.
Carol, would you like to say something, please?
Yeah, thank you. That saved time taking Keith first because that covered a number of points. The only other thought that I'd had, if it should get conditional approval, because you never know, that the permitted development rights should be removed. And it's possible that some of those overlooking windows, if it should get conditional approval, would be obscure, but we can never guarantee they would stay obscure. So it's a poor answer to the problem, but I would support those points that Keith's made.
Okay.
Yeah, the windows won't be obscure because they're bedroom windows. It's only the bathroom, and there's no bathroom windows, just the dressing area that's got a window, and then the bedroom is clear, they're looking straight to us.
The bathroom's on the side of the pathway, isn't it? The back, along the
Yes.
side. Yes, yes. Okay.
Yes, and the dressing area.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Okay.
Linda, I've sent it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we need to take a view. So what are we minded to do?
I think you know what my view is.
I
think I agree with that as well, Philip.
I would like to refuse it.
I would. Okay. Everybody like, so are we minded to refuse it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fine. Thank you. And I know Keith is taking it to the borough council. I think he's listing it. So
That's if they vote. That is if the officer deems to approve it only.
yes, I appreciate that. Yes. Okay. Right. Okay.
Sorry, can I just clarify? So I'm going to recommend refusal, and Keith has sent me the points that I did note down quickly.
And there's a couple.
Do we want to mention anything about the obscure glass then?
I think we ought to. Yes. I don't see why not.
Yeah, that would be a good.
Even though it's a bedroom window?
Yes.
That's no reason why it shouldn't be.
No.
Okay, all right, I'll add that as well then, thank you.
I think I was thinking of obscure glass in the dressing room, which would make sense anyway for not being seen. But the trouble with obscure glass is that it can be changed after the event.
Yes, but the dressing room looks out towards the front, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think if you wanted an extra bedroom, a quick wall and a door in that dressing room creates a very nice large single or small double bedroom as well in that dressing room. So it could, I mean, my only other thought was it effectively you could turn that into a 7-bedroom house.
Yes.
2 studies downstairs, it screamed HMO at me when I first saw it. I thought, oh, what's going on with this? And I think, that road with that amount of parking, it just isn't suitable for that type of thing. And I just thought, anyway, you're right. I think the obscure glass gets away from that, doesn't it? So.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you. I thought that there'd also be a problem on parking if they suddenly decided to increase the number of bedrooms as well, because I think the parking can be looked quite tight on that site.
Yeah.
That is why they have put the side extension back so far.
That's right.
It's to keep 3 to 4 parking slots there.
Yes, yeah.
That must be the sole reason.
I'm sure.
So we don't
Thank you for your help. Thank you for your time and help.
It's all right. Okay. Thank you.
Can I just clarify? You don't want to mention the possibility of it being an HMO then? You don't think that's a... No. Okay, fine. Thank you.
You come and live in a bungalow.
HMO's not a planning matter, Linda.
No. Okay.
It's not a planning matter.
No, but it
Maybe
could ask for a condition to be imposed, but it...
You can't do that.
No,
It's not
okay,
allowed.
fine. Okay.
Okay, so if we're happy with the decision on that one, can we move on to the rest of the application? So the first one I have here is 202745, which is an application to vary some conditions. A planning consent 190021 at 65 Quentin Road. I've got the spreadsheet open. I don't know if anybody wants to look at the spreadsheet, or if you just want to look at the plans, or whether you've had a chance to look at these already.
To mute. I don't know how you mute.
It said the previous front extension was across only part of the house, but the new application takes the full width. It probably takes it out of keeping with the rest of the properties in the area. And it's unclear what the revision to the front is to achieve, possibly a hallway. We've had comments from Councillor Baker, who says this sits in a group of similar property and none of them have extended in this way. This would impact the street scene. The neighbour to the left, as you look at the property, will have an impact of light, as the full extension would create a sort of a cavern effect. And Councillor Jewell has said many others have extended their porch up to the boundary. The issue of light and the neighbours because they have already. My concern would be the terracing effect. So those are comments I've already had. So if anybody wants to look at it, I'll pull it up. Otherwise, does anybody else want to make a comment?
I've had an email from the neighbour who lives opposite, and her comments are actually on the Woking Borough Council website, so I don't know if you've seen them on the website. They've mentioned the loss of light to the living room of the next door property,
Right.
the fact that it's not built in accordance with the approved plans, the bricks that have been used on the porch don't match the rest of the house. And I think they may have suggested that it would be rendered, but the neighbour says to completely render the whole width of the extension would be out of character with the rest of the street.
Yes, it would. Yes, because I think that they're just rendered at the ground floor level, aren't they? From what I can remember. Yes, they are. Yes.
They also go on to say that they believe, or they think the extension is built over the boundary, but that's not a planning matter, I guess, is it?
It's a building. It's a building issue.
And that they're concerned it will set a precedent and lead to, and if other properties do the same thing, it will lead to a reduction in the available off-road parking if this is done in other properties. And they also say that the extension being full width is oppressive and overbearing, and again not in keeping with the surrounding properties.
Because they're going from a pitch to a flat roof, which isn't the best choice, but there are lots of them happening. So
they also say they don't object to the original approved plans and the approved materials, so it's just as has been built that they're objecting to.
Okay, I saw Carol with her hand up, and David afterwards.
Yes, thank you. I think the effect on the neighbour on the left as you're looking at it at the front is compounded because they've also got a forward porch extension, but normally a single story extension won't be considered as being impact on light. It's usually a two-story according to the regulations, etc. But I do think because they're going over to the boundary, then that terracing is, to me, is an issue. But this is all about the conditions 2 and 3, one of which is the finish of the building, the approved details, and the external materials. And it seems to me the external materials is is something that the opposite neighbour has raised, and if they're talking about rendering it, then they're admitting that it isn't right. And I think that's what we should be concentrating on, is making sure that they stick to those original conditions 2 and 3.
Okay. Anybody, David, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just one thing, Philip. I can't see what they hope to gain by putting that across. If you look on the proposed ground floor plan, it is just the gap between the existing front window and the new front window to go in.
Yes.
There is nothing to be gained there whatsoever.
Do you want me to pull it? Do you want me to show it to everybody?
Yes, please.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where am I? That's the one. Right. So there's the plot plan.
That's the next one.
Sorry.
That's
No.
that's Weeble Drive.
Sorry,
No,
I've got the wrong one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You got-
Yeah. Sorry. My apologies.
You want 2745?
Mouse clicks the wrong one.
Of course.
Well, of course, I have to blame something. I can't blame me. Right. Okay. So there you can see Quentin Road, and you can see the extension, the proposed front porch, as they call it. I'm not too worried about the first floor. It's the ground floor, really.
That's the existing.
That's the existing. That was what was approved.
Approved. That's right.
Right. And now they're looking to go from, I think it terminated there, didn't it, from what I can remember, to now,
Well, just about
to
where
go the full width.
it goes grey.
Yes, that's right, because it sort of included the front door, didn't it? And then it
That's
sort of
right.
stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're looking to do this. They can't do much more apart. I suppose they could squeeze a cloakroom in there, perhaps, if there's enough room. But I'm not sure what else they're achieving.
But on those plans, they're showing the window.
On those plans, they're showing a window, yes.
And they're showing two windows, one in front of the other.
Yes.
So there's nothing to be gained. They're not increasing the living room size or anything.
No.
So, I mean, what's been approved already is fine. It keeps in the street scene. They're gaining nothing by going for that added part.
No.
So
You wonder sometimes if some builder comes along and says, if you did this and you did that, it only cost you so much, and we could do that at the same time, and it wouldn't cost you half as much as it would normally cost. And someone just says, yes, go ahead. That's the situation I see that can perhaps happen on some of these things.
But I would be against it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like you. I don't see the point. Does anybody else want to make any comments?
Well, it seems to me that the additional space, when you're coming in, is a place to hang coats and shopping trolleys and things. So gain that.
Yes, because the neighbouring house is exactly the same but mirrored. So that would have a gap here, and then would come out to this study protrusion, which would be here, and then go up the side. So it's exactly the same as mirrored. And if it comes across, then it makes this one look a bit odd. Well, it probably makes them both look odd, to be honest. You've seen enough?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you like to do? What would you like to say?
Refuse.
Refuse.
I don't object.
So are we objecting to this one?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So we don't like that one, Linda.
So you're going to recommend refusal, but what grounds are you going to recommend refusal on?
What's the street scene?
Materials.
Materials.
You said
Terracing,
tiering, didn't you? Terracing, sorry, terracing.
Terracing, yeah, that's what Carol came up with, which is, yeah, that's not unreasonable.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
All right, okay,
Yeah,
so let's move on. To 152 Weeble. Now this is another issue one, because they've already put in a front driveway, which is great. Unfortunately, to get to the front driveway, you've got to drive over some grass, because there's no front access to this particular property. And Keith made a comment about the lack of any comments from highways, probably because garages are at the back. but the aim of applying for a drop curb is that there's clear indication of intent. I have at least one situation in my ward where highways have put in physical bollards to stop residents driving over and parking on verges like this. So I don't think we will probably worry too much about the hard standing. What we will be worried about is the access to the hard standing. Other people, have you looked at this, or do you want to look at it?
Carol has got a hand up.
Carol?
Yeah, I don't think we need to look at it. It's fairly obvious. There's the house, the proposed hard standing, a path, a grass verge, etc. And they've clearly got to come across the grass to access the road, and that shouldn't be allowed. So I would just recommend refusal.
Okay, because the application is for a hard standing to form a front driveway.
But it's retrospective, isn't it? So they're
And
not
it's
intending.
retrospective.
So are they intending to build any more of this hard standing?
Well, I don't know, because at the moment the hard standing, as far as I'm aware, is just outside their front window, and it doesn't actually go across the grassed area. But of course, they're going to drive across the grassed area to get to it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do they need permission to concrete over the front of their garden? They probably don't. So this is
Possibly don't.
the
No.
start of something else, isn't it?
Yes.
Can't be allowed.
So I assume that we should just refuse it, should we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's refused.
Chairman, can we add a comment, please?
Yes.
It isn't actually a comment against refusal, but I was very, very concerned that in the planning application, the applicant under section 6, which is pre-application advice, says details of the pre-application advice received, was informed that the hard standing driveway would need to be completed prior to application. I think we should raise that as an issue because A, I don't believe an officer would ever say that. It doesn't seem right. And B, when this application was vetted, why didn't they pick that up?
Okay.
So I would like to draw the attention to the council, WBC, of what I think is a failure in procedure there. Either the officer giving that pre-advice was wrong, that's a failure of procedure, or the officer who vetted the application should have picked that up.
Right.
So that's also wrong. So whichever way you look at it, I don't think they have done their job.
Okay.
I refuse it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Have you picked that up, Linda?
Yes, I've got that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So the next one on the list is 202992, which is 2 Coppice Road. And that's an application for a single-story rear extension, 2-story side extension after removing the existing garage. I've had no adverse comments from any councillors about that. So are we happy with that one?
Yep.
I'm happy with it.
Okay.
Okay, then the next one is 203169, which is 8 Cody Close, which is a kitchen extension, a short garage to replace an existing garage, converting the other part of the garage to habitable accommodation. I'm surprised in so many houses are able to buy cars which fit half the size of a garage, but that seems to be the growing trend. Apart from that, I've got no comments. I don't know if anybody else has.
No, I've got none.
I didn't have any problem with that.
Okay. 203176 is 136 Butts Hill Road. This is a single-story front extension to provide a cloakroom, and it's the opposite end of the terrace from the neighbour. And I've had no adverse comments on that.
I had no problem.
Happy with that one? Okay.
Yeah, happy.
203205 is 124 Kingfisher Drive. This is a single-story front end side extension, Large ground floor extension doubles the house footprint, out of character with the other houses in the block which face each other and with their rear access from the road. I've had 2 comments. Too large an extension impacts on the street scene. And the other comment, I think, from Carol was, this is a side extension towards the pylon. Would anybody like to say anything about that one, please? Or does anybody, or do you want me to show it, to pull it up?
I think if I could just add to that, if you know the area, just down the road from me, obviously, and there's huge gaps everywhere where the pylon, the string, the pylon goes through, and that's, it always looks odd anyway, and you think, well, why have they got such a big garden? And then you realise with the pylon there, that's why. I don't think it would change the street scene because it's still facing the other house and it's still got its rear access in a normal way. So unless I'm not looking at it correctly, I couldn't understand that comment. But the fact that it's under this wider area nearer the pylon, I think makes it okay. Others have extended out towards those blank areas. One might question why people would want to do that to get anywhere nearer a pylon when it has its health effects. I don't know, but I didn't have so much of an issue with this one.
No, I don't.
No, I'm
Okay, so we happy to
with problems.
Can I explain what I meant by the street scene? Is because, as you know, Carol, that those houses do not front a road. They front that sort of footpath. And if you look at the ones on either side and across the road, they're not as large. So maybe I was misusing the word street scene, but that's what I was meaning, that it's quite a quiet, nice, all of those little footpaths down there are really nice and quiet. You know, they're relatively small properties. So that's why.
Okay, so are we going to say okay to that one, or?
Yeah. I'll just comment that the proposed extension simply makes the property the same footprint, more or less, as the adjacent property.
Right, it's quite large as well. Okay. Okay, so we're going to be happy with that one, are we? All right. Okay, thank you. The next is 203215, which is South Lake Crescent, number 7. And that's another floor going on to an existing extension. With, I think there's only a neighbouring garage, a single-storey garage next door. So no one's raised any concerns on that. Are we happy with that one?
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Move on to 203224, which is 24 Campbell Road. This is a small rear extension at the rear, which is linking to an existing small rear extension. It's only single story. Again, no one's raised any concerns on that. Are we happy with that one?
No problem.
Okay. 203225 is 13 Wroxham Road. This is a conversion of a bungalow to a house. A large build with a large increase in building footprint, may be overbearing on neighbour at 15, but it looks similar to number 11. And it's moving from 2 to 4 bedrooms, but there appears to be adequate parking to the front is my comments, but I don't know if anybody wants to say anything about that one.
Yeah. Philip?
Yes, David.
Yeah. I had a good look at that because I had a similar thing in the house behind me. So I did look into the permitted development rights for my own benefit. That, from the plans and the look of it, is, to me, is within permitted development rights. But I thought it had to be 2 meters away from the joining fence. And
right.
that in the photograph that was sent is nowhere near 2 meters away from the back fence.
About a foot.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I comment?
Yes.
Chairman?
Yes, Keith.
you can build right up to the boundary, as I have done here. And this is not permitted development rights. My comments, obviously, I'm not sure if I actually put them in the spreadsheet. I meant to, but my comments is unquestionable that this is a huge increase, typically doubling the size. There's no question about it.
That's right.
When you look to one side, if you're facing the property, look to one side, as Chairman has said, that the property there is about the same size as what this property will be if this is approved. So my view was very marginal. You know, I struggled to get a personal opinion of whether I wanted to refuse it or object to it or accept it. And just on the smidgen, it's like I've moved to the accept, but it is a smidgen. Thank you.
I can see that.
I think if it wasn't for the neighbour, then having extended to the same degree, I think it would be a different ball game. But I think because of that,
but I will go with the majority.
Okay. So are we happy to accept that? Does anybody want to?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Okay. That's fine. So the next one I've got is 203305, which is 35 Willowside. I didn't have a problem with this. It's squared up at the rear of the second floor. There are 3 en-suites, a bedroom converted to a study, and a new rear extension to replace the conservatory and conversion of a garage. But there's plenty of parking at the front. So on the drive, you can get 3 or 4 cars down there. So I didn't see a problem with that unless anybody else wants to make a comment.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'll just say, when I'm looking at my spreadsheet, I can't see if anybody's got their hand up or anything. I can only see my spreadsheet. 20333 is 5 Gardenia. This is part retrospective, it says. This is a tool shed that goes across the full width of the garden to the rear.
I'm sorry, Philip, my comments were related to this one, not the previous application.
I'm glad to see you're on the ball, David.
This one looked pretty unpleasant to me, but I don't know whether anybody else has the similar comment to me. So, I will share the screen in a second when I get there.
Bless you, my son. Take water with it.
Right. So you can see where it is. So they're putting this wooden structure at the very bottom of the garden, but when you you see some of the dimensions, bless you, and you actually see the thing. Bearing in mind it's part retrospective, the only bit that's probably not retrospective is a window and a door. It's a bit large for a shed. I'd welcome anybody's comments. Carol.
Yes, I think the only thing that's not retrospective is putting the cat on the top. But those properties are not huge, and I'm not surprised that they want some extra living space. But also, the gardens are minimal. I suspect they've all met the minimum square meterage in the local plan policy or whatever. So this is reducing that amenity area. I object on a couple of comments to make is the height of it and how it sort of has an effect on the neighbours either side. But I wonder if it's number 35 Bluebell Crescent, the one at the rear, has actually been informed, because they're going to see the worst part of that above their fence. So it's the impact on the neighbours on all 3 sides, which I would object to.
I'm assuming the people at the back would have seen it going up. That's the only comment I would raise there, really.
Chairman, can I speak?
Yes.
Yes, this to me smacks of someone started this and someone complained to the council, the enforcement officer has been out and said you should have applied for planning permission. And that's why we've got this in front of us now. The crazy thing is, if they had built this not right so far back onto the boundary line and came in, I think it is a metre, and as long as the roof is less than, I think it's 2.5 metres, then they could build it without any planning application under permitted development rights, assuming they haven't been removed. And I doubt if they have, because that whole estate was refused by the borough council and the town council at the time. And it was done on appeal, and more often than not, things that are done on appeal, things like removal of permitted development rights, are removed by the inspector. Unfair, but that's the way things go.
Yes, if you look at his scribbly notes with the sizes on, it's nearly 5 meters wide and over 3 meters deep. So it's sort of 15 by 10.
But the permitted development rights you will find do not define the width or the depth.
No.
The key thing is the height, and you just, I think it was 2.45 or
2.45, I think I saw.
And that is very, very close. And I can't remember off the top of my head. Karen might remember.
It's
very close.
2.5 meters, Keith, up to 3 meters for pitched.
They are, you see, so they could have built that without planning permission. It seems crazy, but I don't like it. Yeah, so personally, I would refuse it. Difficult to find grounds for it. The neighbour behind, they've got, Carol's point, if you look, there's a tree, and then to the right of that, as we're looking at the screen, there's what do you call it, a trampoline. So there is a degree of masking already happening there, and I'm sure they didn't go out and buy the trampoline to mount this. They probably had it first. So again, another smidgen one for me, and on smidgen I would refuse it.
Carol, you've got your hand up still. Do you want to say something else? Sorry, you're muted, Carol.
I can't get to my hand because you're showing the screen. Otherwise, I'd have put it down.
Okay.
Or if I can, I haven't worked out how.
I don't know how either.
That's a point. Yes. Okay. But so do we just want to take a view on the? I'll close the. I'll stop the share. Right. So what do we want to say about that one?
I personally would refuse it.
I would second that.
Yeah, I would agree as well, not being a metre away.
Okay.
I object because I just think it's so unfair for the people behind, but I would guess that it'll be passed.
Okay. So
what grounds do you want to recommend refusal on?
Well, I think Carol's point of the amenity, sorry, I jumped in.
Yeah, no, that's right. It is the height, and I think it's the impact on neighbours, basically, on all 3 sides.
And the reduction of the amenity gardens, I think. Your point is quite good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, so the next one I've got is 203335, which is 12 Callback. Which is building onto the existing side garage and a small single-story extension across the back. This is the typical extension for Callback Drive, and I'm surprised there's still some houses which haven't had it done. So no one's raised any comments on that. Are we happy with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. 203344, which is Highwood Bungalow, Fairwater Drive. This is a change of use of a carer's bedroom situated within the school grounds, with a small new extension on the Fairwater Drive side of the plot for the carer's room. I take it we've got no issues with that, have we?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Where is parking going to be? Because there's an existing carport there, but that's being dismantled.
That's correct.
Can I?
So where do they intend parking? Because the carers will need to be able to park their cars.
So it is, first of all, Philip, I think, or Chairman, I'm not sure whether it is any more in the school grounds. I think that's been normalised, particularly, certainly when you look at the location map, there's a blue line, which is the school outline, and there's a red line. Anyway, it's for supported living for 2 individuals.
That's right, 2 people.
And there's a carer who won't actually be living there because they have shifts. So there'll be a single carer. So there, I think there's room for at least 1 car. I'm assuming that potentially the 2 individuals that need the supported living may well not be able to drive. But there is, parking is tight around there, I must admit. And I'm okay with it.
Yes, I didn't have a problem with it, but
Carol's got a hand.
Sorry, yes, Carol.
Yeah, thank you. It was being used by 2 disabled people. Both had buggies, and it had to be accessible for them. And the whole of the front garden is actually paved over, so I don't think there's any car parking issues at all. That you'd easily get 2 or 3 cars on there. Certainly get 2 quite easily. So I don't think that's an issue, and I have no problem with it.
No, okay. So we're happy with that, I think. Okay, 203358, which is 75 Arundel. This is a minor change to the roof to give more room for a loft. There didn't seem to be much of a change to my mind, unless anybody's got any comments they want to make. No, okay. Then we come on to 203367, which is 6A Sussex Gardens. And I think they're building a house around the conservatories. Rather than the other way around. I can show you a picture of the front first, which is this sort of single-story building here, with the vehicle parked outside, not much in the way of a drive. And then if you want to look at, where are we? The plans. Oh, I didn't share the screen then, so you probably didn't see what I showed you. Oh, silly me. Okay. So it's right in the corner. It's a bungalow attached on a triangular piece of land. I think this is the same one that applied, was it last month or a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
And it ended up by looking at sort of 2 studies, and it looked as if the 2 people who lived there were having a sort of an office each or something. That seems to be what it is. But now we've moved from that to, and I think that was refused because of parking. But now we've moved to what appears to be a proposed conservatory there, another one there, and another one there, and a single-story rear extension, which is taking up a vast proportion of the plot. So all of this is new, as well as this piece here. And bearing in mind, it's not detached, it's attached to the other building here.
And note, they're keeping the existing conservatory, so they're going to have 4 conservatories.
I got it.
Oh, right, okay, right, okay. I saw you made a comment about 4, and I was thinking there's 4 new ones, but no, you're right. So it's one.
So the one to the left,
the one top right.
Yeah.
The one to the left is going to be for irises. The one to the right is going to be for cannabis. I can't understand anybody wanting to live like that. But each to his own.
You would have thought it'd be cheaper to move.
Well,
anyway,
Kew Gardens might be selling up one of their big conservatories.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yes, this is true. Especially the old Victorian one with the cast iron heating underneath. That's probably as good as we're going to get. Is those plans we've just looked at. So I don't know what views you've got of that. And that the opinion of that. I don't know if I can pull up can I pull up the car now?
I don't think you need to.
There's the front. I mean, can you see that? Can you
No.
see a photograph of the front of
No.
the car? Oh, you
No.
can't. Oh,
No.
okay. All right. I'll give it up.
Carol's got a hand up. Philip.
Yes, sorry, Carol. Yes.
All right, I was going to shout, but I thought that was a bit rude.
No, you can do what you like.
That's an offer. Yes, I sent the photograph round to show people because I just was trying to work it out from Google Map, and it wasn't making any sense. Of course, this was originally 2 bungalows, number 5 and number 6, and now there's 5 bungalows instead of the 2, and so they're already squeezed in there, and I think I wasn't happy when they first got permission, but that's the ship has sailed on that one. I just don't understand why they would want, was it 4 conservatives, 3 bathrooms, 2 studies, and so
And a
on.
partridge in a pear tree.
Yes, that's very tempting.
One parking space.
Yes, but they show 2 parking spaces on the old application.
Yes.
And it was that the refusal was based on by Highways in terms of parking. I don't see this as being any different. I mean, it's different design and everything, but I still think there may be 2 parking spaces required. And there's certainly no room there for more than 1 on their own space.
No.
The rest of it is a shared driveway, which, as we all know, can cause horrendous problems.
Yes.
So I think it should be refused on the parking grounds.
And perhaps overdevelopment as well.
And
Yes,
overdevelopment.
The site, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So we're refusing that one. You okay, Linda?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So the next one is 203402, which is 27 Nimrod. Proposed garage conversion for habitable accommodation, 1st floor side extension, 4 roof lights. I've said this squares the build and increases the depth, garage to be habitable. That's all. I didn't see any particular issues with that unless somebody else wants to make any comments.
No issue.
No, we're happy with that?
Yep.
Okay. 203408, 15 St John's Close. Single-story rear extension following the demolition of the conservatory, and that seems to maintain the previous footprint with the more solid structure. So I didn't have any issues with that, unless anybody else has.
Nope.
No, okay. 203429, 114 Nightingale. 1st floor rear extension with a Juliet balcony, a very small Juliet balcony, I must admit. And that just increases the size of the bedroom and the bathroom and just adds this small balcony. I didn't have an issue with that, but I don't know if anybody else has, because I know we're not always keen on Juliet balconies.
I'm okay.
But that, okay.
It's okay.
Right, and finally, 203467, 2 Rowan Drive. Single-story front extension to form a porch. And I said that comes slightly more forward than the neighbouring property, but that's the only comment I've made. So I don't, again, know if anybody wants to make any comments on that one.
No.
No, we happy with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That hopefully concludes that particular agenda item.
Right.
If I close down all these windows I've had open behind you, I can see what I'm doing. Right, okay. So we can move on to planning decisions. Is that right? Item 5, which is on page 7 of your agenda.
Yep.
And
Sorry.
Yeah, go on,
Are you
Carol.
going to do individually, or I had one to raise, that was all.
I was only going to make comments on the ones where they disagreed with us.
Yes, that Colmersmore Lane one I had a look at because it struck me that that might have an impact on what we were deciding on the outbuilding on the application tonight. but their refusal was based on the amount of facilities in that outbuilding, that it was clearly going to be used or could be used separately, and that was the main reason for refusal. I think that's a concern I had at the time. So I think sometimes looking at these refusals is useful, so we can either use them or not, as the case may be.
Yeah, I think there were 3 disagreements, weren't there? There was that one. There was Sussex Gardens, which is the one we've just looked at. I think they were asking for those two studies, I think, in the house. And the last one was 11 Coolbeck, where the application was to really just extend the existing application they'd already made by another metre, which didn't look as if it encroached, but obviously the planning boys thought it did, so they refused it.
For terracing effect, basically.
Yes. Apart from that, I don't think we did too badly, did we?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Item 6, planning appeals. 123 Loddon Road. About a boundary wall. I seem to recall that one. That was quite a large wall. We had concerns about the proposal, so obviously Wokingham didn't like it either, so that's gone to appeal. And then the appeal decisions, both of which are to do with the swimming pool, if I can call it that, in Western Avenue, where despite Wokingham, I suppose, not being too impressed with it, the appeal for refusal was allowed, and the enforcement notices about preventing its use as a swimming pool were also removed. So that's, I suppose, with the current lockdown, they can't use it anyway, but that's a different story, isn't it? Item 7 is the telecommunications notification, which I think we've already seen. And there is a comment in there from Warden Telecom, who have put the proposal forward. This is the mast that they're looking to put probably just outside the public house on the corner.
Yes, yeah.
Which is probably not the ideal place. Although I don't think we're objecting to having a mast. I think we're just objecting it to its positioning, I think. But I don't know what we can do about that. I think we made a comment already, haven't we? Did we make a comment?
Yes, we comment when it came last time. It was the pre-application consultation, which we did object to.
Yes.
But their reply to the objection that I sent to them is included in Appendix 7, and they've now made the application, but we can't comment on the application because this type of application doesn't require consultation. So we made our comment when we were able to.
That's right.
And they didn't take any notice of it.
No. Okay. So there's not much more we can do on that, I'm afraid.
So it means we've probably got somewhere else we can put the Christmas lights to hang off.
But
in fact, we could instead of buying a Christmas tree, could we actually just stick green bits onto this?
Yeah. You could put some fireworks all the way around, couldn't you, for New Year's celebrations or something? I'm sure that would go down well.
How about a zip wire?
Yes,
from the top of the mast down to the community garden.
Boris would come along and open it.
Right, okay. Item 8 then is a tree preservation orders. Just a note really that there's one applicable to Loddon Gardens. And then we're on to item 9, which is budgetary control and report PC 1/21, which is on page 11. I'm hoping that you've had an opportunity to look at.
On page 11.
These are the annual grants, including the Ready Bus.
Yeah.
And you should have also a copy of those grant applications somewhere.
Yes, it's in a separate document.
In a separate document, that's correct, yeah.
If I could say, the budgetary control report number PC121, it just really shows that the full amount of the grants have
Yes.
been paid now. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. And the other document is showing what the budget is for the next financial year.
Yeah, that's
Proposed
the next
budget.
item. That goes on to the next item.
Yes, that's correct. Sorry, I probably put the two together when I shouldn't have done. I apologise for that. So we're then looking at the estimates, which are on page 12, onwards for the forthcoming 12 months, with regards to a similar type of grant that we had last year.
Yeah.
And it's really a question of going through those and taking people's views on whether or not those grants are okay, acceptable, bearing in mind the financial constraints that we may be working under. Deborah, did you want to say something?
Just to say that what I've tried to do in the report is just set out a bit of background for certainly the ones that the organisations that the council's funded before. Citizens Advice, we've been funding them for a long time, and that usually goes towards the office in Woodley. Redibus has been funded for a very long time too, under an agreement with the Borough Council and Redibus and the parishes. Keep Mobile, we've usually given them a grant in the last few years, and ARC as well. So that's the youth counselling service. And they've been struggling a bit, but I think they expect to hopefully have some more income. You've got Revitalise there, and last year they were given £382 towards some of the costs for someone from Woodley going to one of their residences. They haven't been able to spend that because of the pandemic. And what Ashley, who I spoke to on the phone, has suggested is that what they'd like to do is carry forward the 382 into the next financial year, but they're also applying for the same amount in the next financial year as well. And they would then make sure that at least 2 people were able to come to their residences and have a bit of respite care, including the carers themselves, as well as the people who have got mobility problems or whatever they are. The Link visiting scheme has also put in a request for some funding, and they're asking for £1,000. They haven't, I don't believe they've ever approached the council before on that, but that would be just for supporting residents in Woodley. And so you can see the sums there on page 15. Yep. It adds up to £33,804 if you were to award all of the ones or the amount that everybody's asked for. And then attached you've got the annual grant applications as well. So you can see a bit more detail, although I did try to pull as much as possible into the report itself. And I hope that's been helpful.
Yes, okay, thank you, Deborah. Yes, I had a quick look and I made 1 or 2 little comments, but they weren't of anything major, I think. I was looking at, we're on page 11, I think there's 1 or 2, I think, where I think I might have expected them to broken down the people who are using the service a little bit more than perhaps they did. Especially the Keep Mobile one, where I think that they didn't really check on whether people were on low income or not. Well, things like that, but I mean,
I think they operate like Redibus in that they have members, so they have people who are their members. And
yes, I put a note down, but it didn't say how you became a member.
I think you just contact them. And yes. So what Keep Mobile tend to do is they tend to do more shopping trips and perhaps going out and about with people. Well, not this year, perhaps so much, but on outings.
Yes,
I think that's.
Well, it says
Mostly.
day excursions to places of interest and so much,
Yeah.
which I would have thought would be more beneficial perhaps to people on the low income, but they don't seem to take that too much into account. But that's just me.
Mm.
What has anybody else got to say about any of these? Should we start with the citizens' advice?
And we keep that going.
I think that's more important in the current climate perhaps than it has been for some time, isn't it? Okay. Ready bus.
Yeah.
We need to keep. Yes, Carol, did you want to say something?
Yeah. Yes, please. I've used Redibus and I've broke my ankle. I used it a couple of times to get into work, and great fan of what they do, but they do seem to be very expensive. When we look at comparing it with Keep Mobile, who I was looking to see the number of what they did in Woodley, and they performed 2,500 dine and ride trips, they do 900-day excursions, etc. for using that 1,000 that we're giving them and money from elsewhere. I'm not sure that we're getting the same from Redibus, but I think it's a case of the overheads. I've always felt those two ought to get together and to share the overheads and deliver the same service. So it's not that I'm against giving the money to Redibus, and I think that, same as all of these other grants, are really important at this point in time. They're supporting people that really need that support in all sorts of ways. But I just think, I don't know how we address that, but I do think that Redibus is expensive for what we get.
Do we know how many? Do we know how many vehicles they've got?
Lots. I think it's 17. Well, because they operate beyond Woodley, don't they?
Yeah.
They do, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Keith wanted to say something. Then.
Sorry, Richard was first.
Oh, really? Sorry, Richard. My apologies. You're muted.
We must have been very close, Keith. There, I was thinking I'm going to give way to you. I think. Well, I echo what Carol just said. Really, I mean, first of all, I think for the Redibus and the transport and the vulnerable services, my gut feeling is this is not the year to discuss taking away funding from them, because I think they're the lifeline for a lot of pretty vulnerable people who are only going to get more vulnerable in the next month or two. But I think, I had done a little bit of, it's back of a fag packet maths. I'm not going to hang my hat on it, but I kind of bang for our buck on Redibus was £123 per resident that uses it, compared to the sorry, I've just forgotten the name of the other service now. The
Keep Mobile,
which cost about £11 a head. And I kind of thought, well, actually, I don't want to discuss it now, because I think actually we've got a service that works, that's good, that just needs to keep delivering. But maybe it is a conversation we should have a little bit with what our return on investment is in the future. But I think just because of the current situation, we can't cut those people off who rely on that service in this. It's just not even a conversation that I'd certainly not be supporting taking away that grant. But I do think it's one for the future to perhaps.
Yeah, it's interesting that Redibus have got, what, 57 employees, of which 15 are full-time, which is why I asked a question about how many vehicles they've got.
I couldn't find it. I did look, but I can't find it.
Okay.
Chairman?
Yes,
Chairman?
Keith.
Yeah, thank you. Redibus is on a 3-year SLA, service level agreement, which expires in March this year. Might I suggest for the following year, for our next fiscal year, we actually just make it an annual grant rather than a new service level agreement. So they get the money, but it gives us a chance to maybe spawn a small little working party, task and finish group, along the lines of what Richard was talking about, where we can drill down into the merits of Redibus and Keep Mobile, because things are going to be tight. They are tight. Our residents are quite rightly saying, well, we haven't got the money to give to somebody else. We can't use them anyway because we can't leave our houses. So I think what I would suggest and propose that we just make it an annual grant for next year, And then we have an agenda item where we set up a reviewing party, and critical to whoever is members of that group is our representatives on these committees, because they should have the inside track. So I can't remember offhand. I think it's probably Alison Swaddle now, was John McCann and McNaught and Alison. You know, they should have the inside track. So when you ask the question, how many vehicles, they should be able to answer it, or we should be asking them. And we should be adding that into our decision-making process, notwithstanding David's issue because he's a trustee. But nevertheless, he could provide input into that sort of, if that would be my proposal there. The other one I'm a little bit concerned with is the revitalise. That is not that I don't agree with what they're trying to do, and it's only a small amount, but they haven't managed to spend it this time, and we all understand why. If the pundits are right, they're probably not going to be able to spend it next year. So what I would want personally for the revitalise, it's just my view, and I'll go with the majority, but would be just for this coming year, the next fiscal year, we don't actually give them anything, but we want to just monitor how they get on, because we don't know until someone's actually done this, one of our residents, we don't know what the value is. Because at the moment, no resident has done this.
Because it says the centres are in Essex, Southampton and Southport, so they're not sort of down the road.
On paper, it sounds brilliant. You know,
Like,
Deborah? Sorry.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, can I just say, I think they are already in contact with residents in Woodley, and they have provided spaces for them.
Sorry, I thought you said that they hadn't spent the 382.
Not from not from this year, but in times gone past, they have provided that support.
This was the first year.
No, this year is the first year, but in the past they provided facilities for people to go to, but we haven't funded it. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Okay. That's my understanding.
Okay.
I think they may have had community grants in the past.
I think you might be right, Linda.
But I haven't checked that.
Yeah.
I just, from memory, think that they've had the £250 community grant in the past.
Okay.
Maybe we should suggest, sorry, Chairman, maybe we should suggest, since they, in theory, haven't spent the 382, for next year only, we divert them to a community grant, if that's what they've had in the past. It's 250. I know it's slightly less, but you know, that's another way of cutting this. So they get something, which is what they've had in the past.
Okay. So do we need to take a vote on whether it becomes?
Richard had his hand up.
Sorry, Richard.
Sorry, quick question for Deborah actually. On a point of procedure, so they've not taken their 382. Does that entitle them to claim it, or would we just scoop that back?
They've got that 382, but they haven't used it on what they were planning to use it for, which was to offset the costs of some respite for a Woodley resident and their carer, or a relative or whatever.
And they've actually had the money, or we would definitely give it to them when they claimed it.
They've had the money this year, and they know they haven't spent it. They know they want to spend it on a Woodley resident, and they're also applying for the same amount this next financial year to do the same thing.
Thank you.
With another resident.
Yeah, I get the idea.
Okay, so sorry, go on.
I was just going to say it's really quite a small subsidy, but I think it helps them provide more for more people, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, so
Carol's got a hand up, Philip.
Sorry, Carol.
That's all right. Just to say that I had qualms about Revitalise and looked at the amount and thought, oh, well, it's not too bad. But obviously that isn't the total point. But I think I support what Keith is saying about if they haven't used it, they've still got that for something, and they probably won't be able to use it this year either. but maybe they could revisit that. I'm not sure about putting them onto community grant because it's not going to give them enough money. That amount that they've stated is fairly specific, 382, and that's obviously what they need for this respite care. Taking a third off of that, if my maths is right, is probably not going to be very helpful, but certainly for this amount, I'd be okay to remove that from the list, but I'm not, again, go with the majority.
Okay, so if we take each one in order then. So the
Mr.
proposed,
Chairman, sorry,
yes.
could I just suggest that I think there's already some money from the grants left over. I'm right in that, Linda, aren't I?
From the community grants, yeah.
Community grants. So although we've done the 2 lots of community grants, we have, haven't we?
Yeah.
There is about £1,000 left, I believe.
About, it might be a bit under.
Yeah.
Remember.
So you could, if you wanted to do that with Revitalise, you could take it out of there, and I can talk to Ashley and tell her that she could apply for a £250 grant, community grant for next year, or for this year actually, but that they would use next financial year.
Okay. So what do we want to do for Revitalise then? Is that what we want to do? Do we need to make a proposal on that? That we just ask Revitalise to apply for a community grant for £250, as opposed to giving them £382 as part of our standard grants. Anybody against that? So is that carried?
Yep.
Okay, that's carried.
Okay.
Thank you. And the other issue was on Redibus. Do we want to make the Redibus grant an annual grant for the forthcoming year, presumably it starts in what? Starts in April, does it?
Yes, it would
Starts
do,
in
yes.
April, as opposed to having an SLA agreement with them, so we can review what they're offering and what they're providing for us. And we had Carol.
Can we decide that, or is that a recommendation to SNR as it's an SLA, or is that within our power to say that? I'm supporting what you're saying, but I just wondered the process.
The service level agreement has come to an end, comes to an end at the end of March. And to be frank, it would take less officers' time if it wasn't a service level agreement, because we'd have to go out to tender, various things like that. So actually, it might be more sensible to have it as a grant anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so can I make the proposal then? We just treat Redibus for the 12 months commencing April as a grant, and not have a service level agreement. So it's an annual grant.
Yeah.
Anybody against that?
No.
Everybody in favour?
Yeah.
Okay, so we take that as being passed. Thank you. Keep Mobile, are we happy to maintain the £1,000?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
But can we please add that to the review of Redibus?
Yes.
Because they're both providing, in essence, the similar service.
Okay. That seems sensible. Everybody happy with that? Excellent. Thank you. ARC, Youth Counselling, 5,000. Are we happy to continue with that?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. Fine. And then the Link Visiting Scheme, which is £1,000. Are we happy to maintain that?
Yeah.
We are. Excellent. Thank you. Right, you happy with all that, Linda? You've got that down.
Yes, I've got that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Right, can we move on to item 11, which is the applications for a premises license?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think we have to vote on the recommendations there, but also what's the process of setting up the working party to do the review? Do we need to add that as another recommendation that we vote on, or is that going to be just sort of sorted out somehow?
Sorry, I missed that. Yes. So if we need a working party, do we set that up here?
Can I suggest, since we meet every month,
Yes.
that it's just noted that the desire to set it up, and then at the appropriate time, because we're not going to be doing it next week. It's so probably in the new fiscal year would be the sensible time to do that. But if it's noted that we want to do it, it's recorded. If you know what I mean, Carol,
Yes,
it's recorded.
I
And it won't get lost.
I didn't want it to drop off somewhere.
No, okay. Okay, so yeah, sorry, there are 4 recommendations which I'd overlooked. I do apologise. So 1, members note the contents of the report. Everybody happy with that? Any objections? No, thank you. Second one, members recommend approval of the revised budget estimates based on the figures that we've looked at, with Revitalise being removed and substituted with the community grant.
Yep.
Everybody happy with that? That's
Yeah.
passed. Thank you. Number 3, members recommend grants to be allocated to the annual grant applicants, including the committee's budget for 2021 and 22. What's left? We're happy with that? Yes, thank you. And finally, members recommend the budget estimates to the Strategy and Resources Committee. Are we all happy with that?
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Right. Right, so we go back to item 11, which is an application for a premises license for the new, is it Lardy Kitchen, is that how they pronounce it? At Crockenwell Road. There were no objections. I think there were 1 or 2 comments with regards to making sure it wasn't just for takeaway alcohol.
Oh, it's a really pucker restaurant.
Really,
I take it you recommend it.
I honestly, I shouldn't. I'm not endorsing anyone, but I've never had a kebab like that. It was unreal. It was
Other restaurants are available.
Every of the many pennies it cost me.
Oh,
okay.
Nice recommendation.
Yeah.
Other restaurants are available in the town centre.
And equally delicious.
And we better pop in there tomorrow and try it out then.
But there are many other Turkish restaurants in the area who should be considered, as Keith points out.
Okay, item 12, the consultation for new joint health and wellbeing strategy for Reading, West Berkshire and Wokingham. We've been asked to provide a response by the 29th of January. This is page 29 of your agenda.
Chairman,
Carol.
I had a look at this and attempted to answer some of it. I don't know if anybody else feels the same, but I didn't feel qualified to answer some of it. And I thought, well, yes, they all sound good, but then when you try and rank these things, it's quite tricky. So a bit like sort of passing the buck, but I wondered, instead of us trying to come up with some sort of consensus, it might be better if we placed a link to this strategy survey on the town council website.
It has been put. It has been. Yeah.
Okay, so I meant to check and I forgot. Because there's people out there that it will mean something to and have got a very valid point of view, but I don't know, maybe I was the only one, but I didn't feel I could make a sensible answer on most of those questions.
I think it requires a fairly large and broad cross-section of the community, doesn't it? And I think putting it on the website is probably quite a sensible idea.
I can concur with Carol. I've actually responded in my capacity as the borough councillor, and you're absolutely spot on. I kept on coming. Well, I don't know. I haven't got the knowledge. It's a bit of to me, it's a bit of a silly survey.
Yeah.
Because it's only health professionals who really are qualified to answer it, not the general public.
Okay.
I think it's called paying lip service.
Paying something. I wasn't paid though.
You could be right, Carol. Okay, so our view is that it's something that should be put onto the website. How long has it been up? Do we know?
3 or 4 weeks, Linda?
Yes.
Has there been much response?
Well, they wouldn't respond to us. They
go straight back to.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it'd be nice to find out at some stage if there isn't much response going back to the organisers. Okay, we move on to item 13 then.
Sorry, Philip, can I ask, so do you not want to respond to that consultation? Should I try and say that we don't feel qualified to make a response?
I think that along those lines, and then point out that we think that the responses should be a broader base, which is why we've put it onto the town council website for people to respond directly.
Okay, I'll try and do that. I'm not quite sure because it's answers to survey questions, so I'll try and put our comments forward. It's sometimes a bit complicated to do it, but okay, yeah, I'll do that somehow.
Okay, all right. Item 13 is just a notation of the Wokingham Borough Council structure for funding between April and March 2020, and that's already been circulated. Item 14 is Appendix 14 on page 33, which is planning enforcement, which is really Wokingham asking for our help or everybody else's help to make sure that they are picking up all the potential issues, presumably that can happen. I think most people in Woodley are fairly proactive, but I'm sure there are always things that we'll get through. As the amount of retrospective things that we have to look at sometimes proves. So we're happy with that we've seen that.
Chairman, it's interesting to note that 65 Quentin Road is on the enforcement closures.
Yes.
No, we haven't, Keith, we haven't got to that. You're looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah.
We're looking at the press release.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we'd passed that.
Next item is item 15, which is the publications, and you should have received the following or have links to the following electronically, so you can see the ME2 Club Christmas newsletter, the Woodley Town Council letter, sorry, Woodley Town Centre newsletter, and Swan Life newsletter, which you should have had. Item 16, suggestions for future agenda items, which I think Carol has picked up one where we need to look at setting up a small committee to review Redibus and similar service providers. Item 17, the website. Well, that goes back to the survey that we've already discussed. Is there anything else people would like to see on the website?
Can I my old chestnut that I continually ask for is this committee does an awful lot of hard work and good work on planning applications. We never ever publicize what we do and how we do it and how successful we are. I think personally, and I've said this many, many times for years, that there ought to be at least once a month, because we have two planning meetings a month, a quarter I mean, that we actually issue a press release, a positive press release about our activities and how we are trying to defend our residents' rights in planning applications. And we have a we have a communications manager. It shouldn't take, we're only talking about half a page. I really think we ought to do that. And I think then we might get more participation from residents.
Okay, Carol, you want to add to that?
Yes, I would agree with that, but I don't think we should also not raise people's hopes that we're very good at this and we can always defend and always get the decision people want, because at the end of the day, it isn't our decision. But I'm sure the press release would say that, but I just wanted to put in that word of warning.
Okay.
Okay.
What does everybody else think? You think that's a good idea? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So can we ask Keith to liaise with their communications people to see what we can put together?
I'm sorry, Deborah.
I could do that if you like.
Okay. All right, Deborah.
And if I can help, Deborah, I'm
You
more
may
than
need
happy. No problem. No problem. As long as my name goes front and centre.
Linda, you'll have to give me your telephone number when you leave.
No, I can liaise with Anushka. If you want me to, Deborah.
Yeah.
direct
Can
links.
I just I need to call you tomorrow anyway. I'll talk to you about it then.
Okay.
Okay, and then item 18, enforcement notifications. Notifications, Pittsworks, Colemanmore Road, unlawful activities associated with residential developments. Well, we won't go into that. I don't know what that is. Weeble Drive, unauthorised fencing of amenity land, something that we keep looking at, isn't it? And 16 Mitchell Way, erection of a fence on highway land, which one assumes is a similar comment. And then closures, 181 Headley Road East, unauthorised fence and tree works. That's an application submitted. 65 Quentin Road, a large deep excavation. So I suppose we're going to get an application for, I don't know, for a wine cellar or something, are we?
We have just reviewed an application from 65
Yeah.
Quentin Road.
Yes, we have. Yes.
It didn't mention in that application
No.
a deep
No,
excavation,
No, it
an
didn't.
underground car park.
No, it didn't.
Maybe there's another one coming.
And finally, 35 Harvard Close, which is interesting considering one of the applications we looked at earlier on. It says window not frosted or opaque, but transparent glass, a privacy invasion. But then it says no breach. So one assumes that the householder has changed the glass, and that's probably closed the enforcement notice. I don't know. One would
And-
like to think so.
And the 181 Headley Road East, I think we looked at in our last planning meeting, didn't we? And we
Certainly
approved.
looked at it. Yes. Yes. Okay. I think that's the end of the agenda. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I call the meeting to a closure.
Well done. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Cheers.
I'll see